Hey guys, Matt here, and I just wish to record this video to talk about capitalism and its influence on the world and what it means for capitalism to be or means of sustainment to sustain ourselves. Because evidently, the governments, they can be sweet. A few of them, I think, would be sweet governments. How to take care of some people with like disability programs. Let's say that I am, a recipient. But it's really dependent on the person. It's dependent on so many things. Now, I think that this is a game that we have to play, and it's a way to take advantage of us. I think it's a way to take advantage of us, and I've written down some ideas that capitalize upon how I feel regarding this matter. So I'd like to read them to you. It's a personal writing of intuitive thinking and observations. Thank you and take care, and I will now read it. For the billionaires to group together to solve an economic crisis is a brilliant strategy, but what does it mean? As long as a billionaire cooperates with the government, taxation settles the problem of inequality in hypothesis. The influential money hoarders do so because it gives them their influence through purchasing power, because we prescribe artificial value to businesses on the basis of their influence and user base, because people are money. User base is everything when it comes to the world of corporations. And without that mass influence and purchasing power, dominant moves, which fuel the motives of world domination, won't be played. The corruption is merely in the fact that through the game that is played, I think you should be able to choose to give a hand, to help out. There is no vindication in greed. Why should we not be allowed to own what we've gained? It is a free market. The government does not regulate the inner working. The outer working is a collaborative act with the populace as a whole. Yet in a free market, people should have the right to abide by their will to help in the way they want. If you're taking away my money, you better give it to the right places, yet it never does truly happen. To have the complete freedom of choice is a non-existent proposition. Why is that? The influential ones have more of a right because they can lobby, right? Why should there be a disparity? They clearly believe in the ideology. Why doesn't the government as well? Different disguise, same principle, if you ask me. The coolest people I've known have been my friends. We are struggling with mental issues. It summarizes the point. We are cool. Why don't we deserve the same right? Militia Joe and Grandpa Harry would certainly subscribe to helping the military. It could be harmonized very well. Maybe some wealth reduction. It's so people like Trump can create a deficit through wealth influx by wasting away a service. The creation of the equity in the point of the layman having a say has to do with an entirely different subject than where the taxes would go. You work with the laws, you decide the result for yourself. Instead, we are wasting our money away on a system that prioritizes the wrong things. When if you do ask people, everyday people, what do you want in life? The grand majority will say happiness. This creates a rebellious outcome. The government does not appreciate the people having their true will be spoken. There is a pacifistic beauty, a riveting harmony, a realistic endeavor in equality. There is one barrier, the cooperative will of people. Not everyone is willing to give up on their income to help out the world. In fact, the majority of wealthy figures stay that way to make a point about their livelihood, their purpose, their motivator. They seek to obtain, yet they can always obtain more. This creates an uncertainty in the argument for the lack of diplomacy. Namely, if you're donating on a personal level, is it worth as much as the taxes are for the country itself? It is a beneficial, pragmatic deed regardless, a charitable donation. Yet while some are more philanthropic, some are less so. To tell the biggest truth of all, to band together billionaires and millionaires for them to feed the world alone is an exuberant task because it requires such cooperation, even though it's hypothetically possible. That requires a pacifist uniformity in people. The government in the United States makes quite a lot of money, massive money. Does it spend it socially? It seems to be regressing, really. Here in Canada, there is more of a socialist tradition on average, but we are not implementing a basic income plan. Because to people that can be a frightening thing. Because already existing inflation will continue to happen, even though the irony is that the $1,000 either justifies itself to some degree, or we are living in a horribly indecent economy. But the truth is, with the already existent inflation and its rapid rise, it would surprise me less than some things, as sad as it is, because the people are taken advantage of. Yet the billionaires could help solve world hunger, but through technology that facilitates the creation of food would be the best way to do it. Let us say that Peter Thiel, worth $22 billion, could afford us all a few chocolate bars each, maybe a dozen if he bought in bulk. We are eating, we aren't starving for perhaps a happy few weeks. That's if quite a few of them contribute to a literal worldwide phenomenon of feeding everyone through your income. But in the process, the billionaires that contribute saving the world for a few weeks lose all of their money. Of course, not a realistic scenario, but literally it is how it plays out. The money is not spread equally, however, I completely get it. The government can afford a deficit. The billionaires, millionaires, and the public can't. They do find ways around losing money, but it is not the same thing. Why isn't the government not more at fault for failing to absolve the debt and use the resulting costs as a means to provide a better standard of living? Debt is a fictitious game. It doesn't make sense because as long as there is debt, you should get a negative net worth. Yet every government is in debt. How does it make sense to not go further? Yes, you are compensating for price increases more frequently, yet as frequently as ever in so many ways. When you consider that inflation is already unrealistic, it's just providing for the people in such a way that justifies the means. Instead, regressive opportunities are tackled worldwide. The CEOs are not inherently at fault, but they are the choosers of pricing. So they're gaming the monetary system in such a way which transcends reason because all it takes is one person say, raise the price up to create an implication, a cause and effect. It all seems arbitrary because it mostly is, however. It is in so many ways the cost of greed. We raise salaries up to combat raising costs. We raise costs to make up for increases in salary, but they always bite off more than they can chew. Electricity goes up 10% a year, salaries go up 2 to 3%. My own mom told me 2%. Eventually catches up to people and more than ever are homeless with the information altering and alternative facts. We soon don't know how many are truly struggling. The CEOs flirt with the idea of basic income. They make zero efforts to truly implement it other than to say it is a good idea. They are mocking. Just some notes that I had written down that I felt like sharing. And to continue off of that tangent, actually, just a little interesting tidbit. I looked at Bernie Sanders' donations, and I noticed that Jeff Bezos donated must have been like maybe a few thousands, something like that. Like, it wasn't such a big amount of money. I was wondering, like, are they like subconsciously mocking him or something, you know? Bernie Sanders was an interesting character. I mean, he just wanted to, do really good things for people, but I think progressive values are questioned because, well, people want the freedom of wealth being yours the most possible. and the government is kind of a malfunction in and of itself, if you ask me. Really, it's just you kind of have to trust something, someone's. You have to trust. I mean, but it's hard. Uh, I'm doing really well. It's just like let me put it this way. Okay, it depends on where you are. I mean, here in Canada, I'm not really struggling. Like I'm not like if I struggle, it's just manual shit, right? I mean, it's not really bad to me. I love you. Thank you for watching my video. Yes, I wanted to be more pragmatic with this one. I did. Because I thought that I was like so sad in the last few videos, Literally crying, bro. Literally crying big boy tears. And I want to see it.